This is Warriors Anonymous.
We're back. Warriors Anonymous. Another week. And what a week it is. Welcome along, everyone. It seems that there's a lot of good vibes floating around for Warriors fans this week. And hey, why not? It was a good bounce back week. My name is Jared Cronin. And let's bring in the lads. First of all, we have Monita Sauce. Bro, how are you?
Good. Good game yesterday. That's probably one of the best first halves I've seen in a long time. Probably the best bit of stuff I've seen in terms of entertainment.
Yeah.
Man. I was watching it with Kenneth and Phil, and they had no clue, but they were saying they ended up trying to be experts after the game. That's how much it influenced them.
Everyone's an expert.
Welcome aboard the wagon, boys.
Expert analysis.
I love it. We've also got Isaac Sauce. No Woody this week, bro.
No Woody this week. I didn't get to catch too much of the game either. I had some people over. We were watching the Japan 15 versus the AB's 15 because they were Japanese, so they were wanting to see the game. But I did have it on my cell phone on mute, so I could see what was going on, but I didn't get to capture all the atmosphere that I keep hearing about, so I'm quite gutted.
Yeah, it definitely was quite an atmosphere, tell you that. We'll get into that shortly. We've also got Daniel Wharakura with the different mic setup today, bro.
Yeah, kia ora whanau. I'm away, so I didn't bring the usual kit, so had to go with the Janet Jackson option, the professional work option. But I watched all the game, but just watched it kind of on the phone. Was a bit of a mare, actually. Got locked out of the house, culminated in a locksmith at like 7:30 in the evening to get us back in. Long story, but managed to watch it on the phone, and what a game it was.
What a game indeed. Was the locksmith charging weekend rates, bro?
To be fair, I was expecting lots. It was $270 to emergency call out, so that's I'll take that for a win. I'll pay that for a win. How about that?
Yeah. Well, I mean, if that's a Warriors fan that you've called out, then you got to pay the price. True, right? Anyways, now before we get into discussing the smoking of the eels, noticed something during the week which caught my attention about the Dolphins. Fins up, and that is that they've come out with their own board game. They've got a version of Monopoly, which got me thinking. If the Warriors were to have a board game of their own, what would it be? So let's go around and see what your fellas have got for short balls. We'll start with you, Isaac, bro. What game have you got for the Warriors?
My interpretation of a board game for the Warriors would be Operation. So in case people don't know, it's a board game where it's got a picture of a man that you have little tweezers that you pull at different parts of his body, trying to get. How do you explain it? Actually, it sounds weird on a podcast, but you got to try and get the little bits and pieces out of his body. And if you touch the sides of the hole that you tried to remove the piece from, you get electrocuted. So I thought it would be for the Warriors, but the refs would be playing it, and they'd just be deliberately just pressing the side. No try, no try, penalty, up. Warriors lose.
Yeah. That's basically an old school organ harvesting game, isn't it, really? Taking out everything in the body, just whoop, whoop. Yeah. I'd be interested to see what it would be like to play it as an adult, because I remember as a kid, it just seemed bloody impossible. Anyways, Monita, what game have you got, bro?
I was thinking, was it kind of, the card games like Yu-Gi-Oh! And Pokemon? You could have like Warriors players, or you could have old or new. You could go, you got Lee Odenryan, I've got Luke Metcalf. Overpowers. So, yeah. So I was thinking you could collect
nice.
Cool cards.
I play a Mark Carter card.
I drew Mark Carter. Oh.
Kane Evans.
Yeah. Instant lose, Kane Evans.
His special move is folding clothes.
Literary.
That was my thought. I thought that could be a cool game.
Yeah, that'll work. Buddha, what would your Warriors board game be?
Mine was battleships. So you got obviously two teams, but for some reason the opposition team have the little boats, the little two boats, and we have big five target boats. And every time you plug in, we would go, all right, a C4, and you can even look around the side and you know that the boat's sitting there. You punch it into the computer, miss. Like the bunker, no try. So just getting rigged the whole way. So.
And the bunker will be checking 100 times. They'll be checking 100 times.
Yeah.
Why is it still
And
checking?
every time they would hit, they'd plug it in. It's like, what? My boat's not there. But yeah, getting done all the time.
Yeah, nice. Always remember those games, when your opponent's trying to just sneakily look around the side, like, oh yeah, have a look off like a mirror in the background or something to see if there's anything reflecting. But love that. Now during the week, onto serious matters. Baby Watch gripped the nation. And that was the pending birth of Sean Johnson's newest bubba. And my word, I know that there were people sort of, following his wife Kayla's, Instagram and stuff and posting updates on it. And people, I think there was that one photo of her where she, made a message saying that, Bubba would have to wait until next week. And that went around all the different Warriors groups and that. And I think a lot of people were sort of celebrating, but I don't know. It seemed a little bit interesting. But you mentioned on one of the groups that maybe it may have just gone a little bit too far.
Man, we just turned into like midwives, obstetricians, like trying to figure out the dates, time, when baby's due, how she's showing, how she's presenting as well. It was nuts. And there was even fans, I think, spotting when it was confirmed that he was going to play, or at least make the trip. There were fans at the airport taking photos of him going up the escalator, just confirming that he's heading to said airport lounge. So it's a crazy week, man.
Yeah. Oh, man. I saw that one too. And then people were commenting and saying, weren't they supposed to do the captain's run and then fly out later tonight? And I was like, oh, well, there's a bit of controversy even about the Sean stalking photos, but all good. Obviously, he played in the game. Bubba didn't, from what we know, Bubba didn't arrive with him away from home. So yeah, I'm hoping he comes back and it could be an interesting week in the Johnson household. Baby watch. Anyways, there was also a pretty epic sort of game against Parramatta. Because heading into the game, I don't know if I've seen this many, big numbers before. There was 5 decent milestones for different players. First of all, on the Parramatta side, Micah Sivor was playing his 100th. But it's not a Parramatta podcast, so fuck out of here, boy. And then for the Warriors, Dylan Walker, 200. Sean Johnson, 200. Adam Fanua-Blake, 150. Wade Egan, the Prestige, with 100. Isaac, is this some kind of record, bro? Like, I don't recall seeing a match with this many crazy, achievements in the one.
Yeah, I think this is probably the first time I've seen this many milestones hit in the one game. I think, SJ was. I think a lot of the attention was on SJ because of the 200 or Baby Watch 2023. But yeah, good to see other milestones like Dylan Walker, AFB, and Egan hitting some pretty, momentous occasions. So that was good.
Very good indeed. And obviously, a very good win at Parramatta. I was there with the Warrior Nation folks, and Warriors Uncut was there. There was a bunch of people. Mark Tukey was there with his wife, and even the old the man Butcher popped up into the corner to come see everybody, and
He's fucking
he almost like he strangled someone with a Parramatta scarf on. It was all fun and games. So Moneta, bro, like I I was wondering when I was at the ground, because obviously we were trying to, make a bit of noise and make things, a bit rowdy from our perspective, but it sounded like it might have come through pretty well across the TV as well.
Oh yeah, and they were talking about it after the game too, on the Sky Sport after match commentary. They were saying the atmosphere seemed electric, and yeah, it was like awesome to hear on TV. It was just, I can't describe it. It's just, yeah. Hopefully we'll get something like that at a Go Media Stadium. But I've never heard anything like that like in Australia. But for the Warriors, so it was amazing. Yeah, you guys did well, very well.
Yeah. Oh, mate, Richie Morgan was there beating the drum. You would have seen a few vids of him bashing away. I sort of kind of just recovering a little bit because my right ear was exactly where he was beating the drum. So boom, boom. I was sort of, what? Huh? But, all fun and games. Now, Isaac, we spoke last week. We've got to claim this. We've got to absolutely claim this. Because we spoke about the, a bit of the forecast, shall we say, that Lukey Metcalf was this close to breaking out and, potentially could do it against the Eels. And he did it.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did. It's nice to be right.
Daniel mentioned that? Was Daniel?
No, it's nice to be right about these sorts of things. And like, how well did he play? And it's nice it's nice having people not going, oh, why isn't Shaun Johnson run? I want to see him run more. It's like, well, we don't need him to anymore. We've got someone that's tailor-made for that sort of style of play, and SJ can just do SJ things. But, yeah, everyone loves him, right? And we've got a really big problem now, like a great problem, but, TMM or Metcalf, like, I guess we'll talk about that a little bit more later on.
Yeah, I guess, you go with whoever's fit, and obviously it just means that, we don't have to sort of try and rush Te Maire back into the team. Also, you got, Ronnie Bolton floating around as well, so it always helps to have a bit of depth in the halves, as we have seen the past couple of seasons especially. Now, Luke Metcalf was just one of a few standout performers from across the ditch, shall we say. So, Daniel, run us through, bro. We've got a new segment going on here called Warriors Watch.
Welcome to the Warriors Watch. So, I just thought it was important to highlight off the back of yesterday's game. I think the players that stood out for the season so far obviously have been already, been mentioned a lot. With Shawnee, who, imposed his game plan, but obviously didn't probably feature in the highlight reels. Tohu was immense again. Dylan Walker was strong. Adam was strong. Actually, I thought Monty and Dallin and Chance all had a really strong game as well. But I thought I'd choose, and we'll talk about these three blokes. And it just so happens they're all our battler Aussies that have come over to support our team, because I just thought they were just impressive last night. So first up was our Mitchie Barnett. Look, boys, how good was his game? Obviously the stats sort of speak for themselves. But I think early on, I don't know about how you guys felt. I thought, oh no, is he overplaying his hand a little bit? There was a couple of times it was a short side raid, and I think, this has been super nitpicky. In this week's game and last week's game, there were a couple of little passes that just didn't connect as well. That was in that first part of the game, but I mean, once we got a roll on, he was a pretty destructive force for us out there, and just gets through a mountain of defensive work, boys? So yeah, how did we see his game, boys?
Loved it live, and loved it on the replay as well.
Yeah, I mean, he was great. I mean, like, he's that mongrel that we need up front in regards to the forwards. But yeah, I totally agree. Like, the first 20 minutes, I was getting a bit nervous with some really basic errors and just some forced passes. But as we played direct, Barnett was part of that charge. So yeah, he was great. He was awesome and scored 2 tries, which is fantastic.
It's nice to get these import
Yeah, mate.
players like Barnett after the run of maybe poor decisions we've had in the past with our recruitment, a la, the likes of Kane Evans. I had to say Ben Murdoch-Masila, he didn't get the best of runs with us, but it's nice to see the imports like Barnett actually work out for us and contribute massively to the team. And I guess case in point was the game on the weekend. He had an awesome game. 84 fantasy points. Fuck, that's awesome.
Yeah.
All right. Who else did you like out there, Buddha?
Well, next Aussie battler. Miss Jackson Ford. He's a player that we've mentioned a few times, but I thought last night's effort was pretty strong, really, to think about it. So, I guess in our pack, he's our 80-minute man, which is, pretty crucial to play 80 minutes. And a line that's been thrown around quite a lot is his 79th minute carry is as strong as his first minute carry. He's just uber consistent with his energy as well. And he's a sort of effort on effort guy, I guess. Just never gives up in the play. He's always there or thereabouts. He got put through a couple of holes, one hole in particular, and I was like, "Where the fuck are you going, bro? You're gonna cross back into the midfield." But his numbers speak for themselves. 200 meters, bunch of tackle breaks, a couple of missed tackles, but when you're playing 80 minutes like that, it's a real solid effort. So, yeah, how did we see that one, boys?
I actually I've really been keeping a bit of an eye on Ford, just kind of seeing how he goes in terms of trying to manage his speed in the game, because I felt like there was a patch there earlier in the year where he was just trying to do things at like a million miles an hour, and that would lead to errors and frustration. But I feel like in recent times, I actually feel like he's just sort of, I don't know if he's drawn it back a little bit and just tried to, just find his kind of speed within the game. And it's definitely showing in it. He's making line breaks. He's doing heaps of really good things without, as many of the bad errors. What do the Sauce Boys reckon?
No, I was just trying to...
We're gonna lag everywhere.
No, he's great. Like, I remember the first game watching him at night, so I was like, I think I was mentioning to you guys, this could be my man crush. Just the way he plays. He just, his gas tank is just unlimited. Like, he just runs around the park and he's always there in the gaps and stuff like that. And like that pass from Metcalf to him that Buddha mentioned, and where he ran down the middle of the field, and he's and the tackles that he makes, he's awesome, and the value that we got him for. The commentators were saying that he's like probably one of the best buys the Warriors have got. He's adding so much value to the team, and he stays on for the full 80 minutes, and that's unbelievable.
Yeah. Real good value there. Tracksuit pants prices.
Yeah, definitely.
For a good
I don't
pair
think
of
any of
jeans.
us were picking that he was going to be starting for as many games as he has this year.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
we would have picked Josh Curran and Niokore to lock down that second row, but here we are, Jackson Ford. He's given hasn't given a reason as to drop him. He's just week in, week out.
Certainly helps the rotation. Look, Mickey Uffle from Apia, apparently.
Someone said he was born in Apia, Samoa.
Yeah. It was during Samoan Language Week here, and all the boys were like, saying their name and what village they're from and that, and then and he was the last one on the end of the line. Look at Mickey Uffle. Yeah. So yeah, as Buddha said, he was sniffing around the middle, sniffing around balls, as he always puts it, and also just having that confidence to overrule Sean at times. That's a good sign as well. There was that I think it was his second try. I had to laugh, Isaac, because you could see Sean on the outside screaming for the ball, like, give me the ball, and Luke's like, yeah. nah, I'll just get myself.
Yeah.
But yeah, what did you think of that particular play?
Oh, loved it. I love the fact that you can overcall, the highly experienced, Sean Johnson, more than 10 years under his belt. But he just provides that cutting edge for the Warriors attack, eh? And when I think about what's going to be happening next year with RTS coming in, it's just all across that sort of backline, you've got these threats, but none more so than Luke Metcalf and his speed and, his experience that he's getting every week. His vision for the game is slowly improving, which is just awesome.
Yeah, nice. 2 tries, 2 line breaks, a line break assist, 6 tackle breaks. 63 fantasy points. We weren't playing fantasy this week because it was the bye, but Moneta, there's a lot to like. The guy's got X factor as well, right? Like just something that we don't have. He's got that crazy speed and just skills for days.
I think that's it. And he hasn't even showcased, I think, and a lot of people have been saying that his electric speed and pace, and he's just been there in the right places at the moment now. He's kind of like hanging around the edges and so forth. But like you guys were saying before, he's calling the shots a lot more now. And I was watching a bit of it in terms of how he was doing that, and he was like shouting at the forwards, saying get into position and stuff like that. So he's starting to command a bit more of a presence on the field, and you can see that now week by week he's getting more and more confidence, and with that he's backing himself up a lot more, and you see his little glimpses of his pace. When he's out from 5 minutes out from the try line, his acceleration just goes poof, and that's what I really like. His acceleration. But I'd love to see him at top speed. That's what I'm looking forward to when he hits that top speed. Oh yeah, can't wait to see that. But his passing to Montoya on the edges, his skip passes, he draws the play in. I don't know what's going to happen with Te Martin, but it's going to be tough for him to get back in. I think the way Metcalf is playing. Oh, Luka Mikia.
He's got a really good all-round game. I remember seeing him in New South Wales Cup a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
And man, he was throwing those rainbow passes out to the winger. Like that was on the right side. So he was flinging them left to right passes out to his winger and getting try assists that way. So I was like, wow, okay, this guy he can really do it all, which is exciting for us. And yeah, I think that's just having him grow in confidence. I know that 63 fantasy points.
Yeah.
But he could have had a lot more fit, he missed just about had another try. And he was also really hitting a lot of gaps at different times. But he just need maybe the pass to get to him or something to fall his way. So could have very well have easily been a 4-try game, something crazy like that. But
yeah, I know the Sharks. Sorry,
okay.
I know the Sharks fans are ruining the missed opportunity. A lot of them are saying now, why did we keep Moylan and let go of Metcalf? So yeah, a lot of them are like an opportunity missed. Yeah.
They kept Moylan. Obviously, Sean wanted to come home, but they kept Moylan over Johnson and Metcalf. It's like, okay. You do you, boo. Isaac, when we brought on Dylan Walker before he had his issue with his arm, hopefully it's all right, man, he just came out and created havoc up the middle, didn't he?
Yeah. He does, Dylan. He does debuns things, in the field. Yeah. He just makes such a significant difference in the middle of the park there, and it just goes hand in hand with the way that the Warriors want to play. I think he fully understands his role. And he fully understands what he can bring to the team too, what his contribution is, and doesn't try to overplay his hand. And I think, to your point about Jackson Ford, earlier in the season, he was just trying to be too many splash plays, and now he's not overplaying his hand. And Dylan Walker's just a consummate professional, right? You don't get to 200 games in your career without knowing a thing or two. But what he offers to the team, just, that speed through the middle, quick play the ball playing ability. to your point about Luke Metcalf, how he's got it all, what I like is you've got a lot of these players in the team now that have got a large array of skills to them, but they don't feel like they have to do everything themselves. They can pick and choose the times when they want to turn it on. And one week it might be SJ, another week it might be Metcalf, another week it might be Wade Egan, who had a great game himself as well. But everyone's just playing their part and not overplaying their hand. So Dylan Walker's just a perfect example of that.
And there's a bit of confidence going around as well from all of these guys who can contribute at different times. It's sort of like they don't generally, apart from the Bunnies game, they don't generally try to force stuff too much. There's the games sort of flow differently. Like this week, we just piled on like 4 tries just before half time in about 14 minutes span. Other games we've come out and just blown the second half away or whatnot. So I like that we can almost just wait it out a little bit and just go, okay, just see how a game is going and back ourselves to get over the top of them. Moneta, one of your old favorites, Wade Egan from dummy half, the chef, the prestige, mate. He is at times. I got to say, obviously not a full strength Parramatta side, and a lot of the defense left a lot to be desired. But man, at times Wade Egan was just eating those markers alive.
Yeah. I mean, he was doing great. I mean, he was reading it like really well from the dummy half and making those little scooting runs. He played awesome. I mean, like I still remember the first time he joined. We were we were going hard and taking rounds like he's on the treadmill, like But now look at him. I mean, like he's getting accolades from the likes of Cameron Smith and so forth. And but I do have to add also, doesn't it make a difference when it's a dry track? Even Webster in the after press conference was like saying, please let it not rain, in next week's game, because how they play in the rain and how they play on the dry track is so much different. But he's hoping it's all good in terms of weather next week. But
man, that's a good point. Let's have a look. What's the old 7-day weather forecast for Auckland?
Yeah, where's Jim Hickey when you need him?
I reckon they would have learned their lessons. They're not going to do what they did, hopefully, again against the Rabbitohs. But man, what a difference! Like they're built for speed, aren't they? At the moment, in terms of the way they play. Like,
all right,
like I
so
said, yeah,
it looks pretty grim in the early stages of the week. But then from about Thursday onwards, it looks like it turns the corner, and there's sun, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So,
yes, Matariki weekend.
Hopefully dry the grass out a little bit, and then come game time, we can turn it on before it pisses down again the following Monday. No joke, is what it is. Anyways, not sure how accurate those 7-day weather forecasts are anyway. But Isaac, in terms of just the team's overall confidence, how important was it to bounce back from that Bunnies, letdown, shall we say?
There wasn't going to be any other way, right? They had to bounce back, and they had to bounce back in a big, big way, and they've done that. So they can take a lot of confidence going into a Sharks team that they, played early in the season, was arguably one of the greatest comebacks they've ever had. We can't forget about that. It was a long time ago, it seems like, but not really. But they needed that game after that poor outing against the Rabbitohs. I mean, let's not pull any punches here. That was a terrible game for us. Wet track or dry track, that was we just got outgunned. So for us to come out and really make a mark on a quality team, they were shorter troops, but they still had some quality across the park. And we're not playing at a full strength. We're not playing at a full strength team either. We're not playing all of our guns because they're still injured. Just nice to have some momentum coming into the home stretch.
It was really good as well to break that drought. What was it in last week's expense account? It was saying that we hadn't won around 19 games since about 2013 or something like that. So.
And plus, Combank's not an easy place to play either. That is a fortress for Parramatta, and we went in there and we stomped them.
Yeah, that's right. Really. I gotta say, it's a cool stadium, bro. Like when you go there, you don't actually feel so much like you're at a rugby league stadium, if you know what I mean. It's almost like you've gone to a basketball game because they've got all the flashing lights going, the music's pumping, and it's quite close. Everything's close in, so it's it's a really awesome setup that they've got there. So I'd definitely recommend it if you boys are ever over, even just to watch a para game. And it will be interesting as well to see how things track in the next few weeks. Obviously, para are still in the top 8. They're in 7th. We're in 5th, so we're only 1 win ahead of them. It's still a jam-packed looking top end of the table there. So interesting to see how things will pan out. I mean, I think we need to have a little look-see as well at stuff that didn't go quite so well. And particularly, it was almost like the opposite of last week, shall we say. That first 20 minutes, we had about 6 errors in us. And Moneta, that's just not going to cut it when we get serious.
Yeah, I mean, in the 3rd minute, when DWZ, I was like, oh no. In that era, killed me. I was like, oh, that's the 3rd minute in our own half. And we were, like I said, like Daniel was saying before, those kind of forced passes we didn't need to, make. We were just kind of just giving it back to them in our own territory. But again, I think it kind of proves back to our defense. We were able to hold them out and then turn them around. It's almost like I'd rather we start off that way and then kind of suck their confidence dry and then just kind of hit back. And that seems to be the way in terms of how we won our other games. Well, with the Rabbitohs, it was the other way around. And I think Webster's kind of he mentioned it in the conference that we've got to get rid of those errors. I mean, 9 errors in total isn't good enough, and that was all within the first half. Majority of them were in the first half. So
I think about 8 of them were Adam Pompey.
To be fair, Adam Pompey, those were hard ones, right?
Yeah, they were. Yeah,
catching a high ball like that, and I was like, and some of the interceptions. I mean, DWZ one I thought was the worst. Placing the ball and then cook. And I was like, so people are going to go hard on Pompey, which I've seen on like Facebook and everything like that. Like, I'd like to see them go for a high ball that against how many players and catch the ball and stuff like that, or go for an intercept and that pressure.
He almost needs those old school, those 1980s, those Velcro kind of pad things.
Oh, NFL
the tennis ball and just stick onto it.
NFL gloves, eh?
Hey, get some gloves. Yeah, because I did feel sorry for him. I was like, oh man, just nothing is.
Because he actually played okay. Like on TV, he actually played. He was right there on position. Positionally was well. He was playing good in D. Yeah, I mean, he didn't have an extraordinary game, but I just think people got to give him some slack. Some of those areas were just. They were hard. Like, I always even go, oh, shit, that's hard.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes as well, on the other side of that, sometimes he'll jump up. There was, I think, the one where Jackson Ford ended up catching the ball and putting it down for a no try. I was watching him jump up, and it's almost like you got to recognize, A, if you can realistically get the ball or catch it, and B, if the opposition could as well, because there was no way that the para guy was going to catch that. I was like, mate, you'd have been better just pull your hands back and just let it sort of bounce off them.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's all right. It was
he
a
gets
good
a
laugh.
lot of hate. He gets a lot of hate.
Yeah, he's the Caleb Ralph, isn't he?
He's played every game this season.
Yeah.
And Webster believes in him. So it's like...
Yeah,
that's right. Until next year when he's off to the Knights, probably. But,
yeah.
But hey, for this year, Mr. Solid ish.
Look, one thing I will give him credit for is that on defense, I think he reads it pretty well, and he doesn't get skinned on the outside, and he's a pretty solid tackler. Nothing really gets past him too much. So if you take away the smoke screen of all these handling errors and stuff like that, a couple of times, there are intercept opportunities that just don't hit the mark. It's a very small very small margin for error where it goes the other way. He intercepts it. He's down the other side of the field. So yeah, I'm really not enjoying all the hate he's getting on Facebook.
DWC had a couple of bad errors.
Yeah.
He was a bit too he should have been a bit deeper in some of those runs in terms of the pass. So it's like, come on, I don't know where this hate is coming from for Pompey.
Yeah, it's just that Dallin's kind of he'll make a few, bad errors at times, and then he'll just do a bit of a splash play, score in the corner, and knock over the cameraman and pick him up, and everyone's like, oh,
we love
Whereas
him.
on the other side, Pompey's Pompey's just gets so much hate. Poor guy. But in terms of our points differential, we made a good 36 points on our diff, which is good. What I would probably say to that is Isaac. I don't know if it's a little bit of bloodlust in me, but kind of wanted 50 plus in that game. Am I being irrational? I was thinking, you gotta.
Every single point helps at the end of the season when you're looking at the ladder, especially when it's such a log jam as it is this year. You need to bank every dollar that you can, and save it for the end of the season. So, and it's always nice to hit a milestone marker in a game like 50 points. Why wouldn't you? And we haven't seen it for a long. When was the last time the Warriors put on 50? Don't know.
Got me, bro.
Exactly. Where's Greg Spence when you need him? Where's the expense account? But 50 points is a big deal. So it's always nice to see a team hit it, and it would have been nice if the Warriors got there. But yeah, bloodlust. Nothing wrong with it in the rugby league game.
I also think I know I keep talking about the whole X Factor moments during games, and you sort of see things like we'll make a little intercept or just find ourselves in a massive gap or something. Often it's, I feel sorry for poor old Wade. He'll find himself in, an open space. And he's not a burner. And poor Tohu as well, fucking kept finding himself in these massive line breaks, and I'm like, oh, you poor bastard. You're out there running on, half a leg, and, you find yourself in open paddock going, uh-oh.
Was that the one that Metcalf got tackled? It was behind Toby Harris, and then
yeah.
Like, damn.
Yeah. But I mean, what do we need to do? Maybe I don't know. There's something we still need to work on. Obviously, monitor just in terms of how we seize upon those moments, and really, if we get into space, finding our Dallins and finding our Metcalfs, and just destroying teams.
I mean, I think we're getting better, compared to last year in terms of our support play. I think we're getting better, but to your point, I think there's elements of where we still can improve. There were other times there were breaks. I think Aiden Fanua-Blake, I think we need to always have someone around him. I mean, he's always looking for the offload, and there were a couple of times you could tell he wanted to offload, but there was no one there. So I think it's just everyone support. I think you always get a few key people supporting, like CNK, Metcalf, and so forth, and SJs. But I think it just needs to be everybody in that regard, just hanging off each other. But to be fair, everyone's just kind of stepping up their game and so forth. And I think it was just a couple of things, people who end up in space are the ones who were Tohu and Egan or Barnett, So they're not the natural ones to go, where are the players? Yeah. So, to be fair, I did see support play, but you've got people who're running into space who are like, oh no, what? I'm a front row. What am I doing?
That's right. Poor old Adam as well. I actually thought he was unlucky not to get a couple of meat pies himself, because there was a couple of times there near the try line he just ran some beautiful angles and just needed the pass to go to him, and they didn't give it to him. It was like, oh. But anyways, unlucky, bro. In terms of what are we going to talk about now? Actually, I know what we'll talk about. The New South Wales Cup game, because we had a good win as well in that one, which is lovely. We had a 36-14 win over the Para Eels. So I might just bring in a little bit of highlight action. I'm not sure if any of you boys have seen any of this, but
Bring it on.
we'll give it a whirl because there was some actually pretty nice tries going on by the boys. Not
Well,
the first,
Cossey's out now, eh?
the first
Is
one
he
was,
injured again, is he?
Who's that?
Yeah.
Cossey.
Yeah.
Yeah, so poor Ed had a bit of a took a knock to the leg last week. So I think he might be pretty much close to maybe back like round 26 or something like that. So a bit of a shame for him. But I mean, look at these sorts of tries. We've sort of got some long range efforts, just breaking through the line, support play. Look at this stuff. Yes, boys. There we go.
Carnival.
Williame, forgotten man out in the centres. They basically went out to a pretty quick 18-4 lead here. And then set another long ranger. And as well, I've got to say, I was watching our mate Tanner Stowers Smith out there. He was back in the squad for this particular game, and man, like he was starting to look damaging, eh? Like he was making hits. There he is in the red headgear there, just going the wrong way, but that's all right. But no, he was starting to look like a gun. Like you kind of forget he's what 18 years old, but he's out there and he's playing against full grown men.
He's only 18.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So because you come from the SG Ball team, which is the 19s. Look at this. This is a nice little try as well.
They look slick, eh? They look slick.
Yeah, they're a really entertaining team to watch when they're on. Especially, it's another dry track team.
Ooh.
It's a bit of a common theme from the Warriors sides this year. Tuopiki, he's got that space and support play as well. So
He's good, eh? Tuopiki.
He's really good. They just went on a bit of a rampage here and got 3 quick tries in a row. This is a bit of a freakish looking effort here. The old whoop. This is Carnival. Jacob Laban, he's another 18-year-old as well. So, really encouraging stuff.
We've got so much depth there.
Oh yeah, it's really really exciting.
Emerging talent, depth,
man.
Yeah, and I mean the thing is as well,
bright.
You could potentially have guys coming back soon. Like a guy like Jazz who's due back in sort of 1 to 2 weeks. Timaire, those guys might actually have to, go and earn their stripes in New South Wales Cup to get fully fit, get a few minutes under the belt before they go to first grade. So that can definitely help their chance as well going forward. So they are back in 4th spot, still in 4th from the weekend. They got a big game coming up back home at Go Media Stadium before the NRL side plays on Sunday. So also this game's going to be on, I hope, must be on Sky and Foxtel. Keep an eye on that before the big game on Sunday. It's going to be a beauty. So they're playing the Newtown Jets team that beat them a few weeks ago. So that'll be another big clash. This is about the point in the episode where we normally go to Buddha's NRL wrap, and actually I did have a nice little bit of visuals for him this week as well. So I want to check it up just for fun. Like, I'm sure he'll appreciate it when he watches the rest of the podcast back, because he's going for HIA, and here we go. Chef Buddha put his NRL rap. Yeah, so
I got salmonella.
I think there's
that was last week's rap, which was by the chef's standards, he admitted it was a little bit lackluster, but yeah. Anyways, thanks, Buddha. We'll get you back on next week for your own NRL wrap. I don't know if you boys saw any of the action from the other games this weekend at all.
I did.
What did you see, Isaac? This is going to become Isaac's wrap.
Isaac's room temperature butter chicken. Didn't catch the Tigers game, but I heard they got their asses kicked.
They got some points.
They got some points. There in it. What I did see was the Raiders fading against the Dragons, because that one really hurt. I had a $5 multi that was going to pay $1,700, and all I needed was a 12-point win to the Raiders. And what did they do? They had 5 minutes where 3 tries got put on them, and bye-bye $1,700.
Oh.
So That one really, really hurt.
Oh.
And the Raiders, why do they do it? Why do they keep fading that way? They were all over the Dragons, like, flies on shit. And for some reason, second half, they just decide to let Zach Lomax go bananas and run rings around them. So yeah, that one hurt a lot. Warriors obviously electrify the Eels. Bulldogs score a win against the Bunnies. Depleted Bunnies team, but it's nice to see the Bulldogs win a game. It's been a while between innings.
Especially after the previous week. Like, they were another bloody team who got egged.
Yeah. Needless to say, we got the better of the Penrith assistants. Coaches.
Yeah.
I think we can safely agree on that. And the Finns get up over the Titans tonight in a very close nail biter as well. But I think probably the biggest news in the NRL lukewarm butter chicken is the RLPA media ban for players. It's who wants to talk about that? That's
Moneta, what are your thoughts on the whole? I mean, in terms of the issue itself, a lot of people are being vilified, particularly on the union side. Clinton Newton's getting a lot of grief. What are your thoughts on the whole dispute?
I think they should have a union. Right? I think what they're trying to do is just get a fair slice of the pie, right? But I think there's been a bit more heat around how they've been doing it in regards to kind of, the broadcasters, right, are the ones who are actually providing most of the revenue. And so they're kind of biting the hand that kind of feeds them in some ways. So they're saying that they should have targeted in a different way. Because, I was looking forward to like hearing the player interviews and stuff like that, and they were saying there's a lot of like that's part of the package deal, but in the same way, like the players are just fighting for a fair share of what they're kind of like deserve. But I agree in terms of what they're fighting for. I probably don't agree in terms of how they've done it, because it impacts on the fans. And listening to the Triple M podcast, that was, I think, the key thing. That was they all agreed in regards to what they're fighting for, but how they're doing it, and it's taken them 20 months to, I guess, in regards to land it. So they're going, what the hell? But it's both parties at play, so I don't think it's one party; it's both parties. So, it becomes political.
Yeah. I guess for me personally, I haven't missed the player interviews at all. I don't. To me, they add very little. No one really says jack all of useful information or anything real. So I just kind of usually just skip them anyway. But Isaac, in terms of the method that's being employed by these guys, I have seen a few shows, but I also take them with a grain of salt because these are News Corp funded shows or owned shows. So of course they're going to be on the side of the NRL and the broadcaster. So I don't really know if they've been properly balanced in terms of what they've been saying. But is the method, has it gone a little bit too far? Do you think, Isaac?
They've got to find some common ground, which is everybody making money. That's your common ground in a professional sport. Players, administrators, broadcasters, everyone's got to get their fair share. But to do that, everyone's got to be on the same page, and they've got to get back down to at the heart of the matter, like they're all on the same side. They're all trying to push the game, the product along, and they all equally contribute in some way, shape, or form. So, I think both sides need to extend an olive branch and just maybe deflate the ego a little bit. That's both sides of the both sides of the table.
And that's a great point.
Yeah.
So it's dragged on. It's dragged on far too long, hasn't it?
And that's been a problem, I think, is that you've got two big egos fighting it out at the top on each side, where it's kind of clouded, like, some, I guess, to some degree logic, because I've heard that Abdo and Newton absolutely hate each other. And so it's hard to come to an agreement on something when you're always going to find fault in regards to what the other person is saying. So you're not able to have a neutral stance on
Mm.
what you're actually being presented.
Yeah.
So it becomes, yeah. I mean, you heard Ricky Stewart make a few comments saying that 95% of the players don't know what they're actually, why they're doing it for, and stuff like that. And, and Webster, didn't want to make any comment, but just making sure the players are happy and so forth. So it's become a bit contentious, I think. So, yeah.
If those
Yes.
two can't get it done in 20 months, then step aside and let
Yeah.
some people
That's
step
what I
in
think
that
too.
can get it done.
Yeah,
You
20
know.
months, like, then get some new people to do it. Like,
Yeah.
like they can't get it done, then it's like having a real estate agent who can't settle a deal after 20 months. And it's like, well, we're paying you to get this done.
Mm.
You haven't got it done yet. So,
Yeah.
Need
If there's-
a closer.
If there's too much bad blood and there's too much personality with Abdo and Newton, there's too many personal feelings involved in this negotiation, then they both need to just go, well, I'm not the person to do this for my side. I'm going to step aside and bring someone else in to carry the torch. Have this conversation with the other side, because I'm too involved with this. I don't like Clint Newton, and Newton's saying I don't like Abdo. They're never going to get anywhere. It's just some people just can't get along, so they need to bring in new representatives to represent each side fairly and
Reasonably. Yeah.
reasonably is the word. People can be reasonable, but sometimes relationships get to the point where there's just no reasonable left, or the reasonable is gone. And that's what's happened with Abdo and Newton.
Yeah, fair. Well, on to more immediate matters. Got a big game coming up this week against Cronulla. Home game back at Go Media Stadium on Sunday. Looking forward to this. It's going to be a funny one. I tend to be a little bit worried, especially because of the Bunnies game, but also the fact of the nature that we beat the Sharks in last time. And I can't help but feel that Moneta, maybe revenge is going to be a real driver for them when they come over.
Yeah, I think I'm not going to be as optimistic as I was when we were versing the Rabbitohs, where we predicted quite a high score. Well, I did. I think we're going to have to be on ball with cutting those errors out. Those little basic errors, I think, will actually cost us a bit more against the Sharks and so forth. So, yeah, it makes me nervous. And plus, we're playing after the All Blacks. And I'm a bit worried about how much they'll rough up the turf,
Right.
in regards to the track. Will it make it muddier, and so forth? Because from seeing the games now, the Warriors are playing, they love a dry patch, and that's when they play their best. And so, yeah, there's a certain things, but I'm confident Webster will get them prepared in regards to a tough game. It's going to be a tough one. It's definitely
for sure. I mean, we've had a great year defensively. Stats have been saying that it's our second best year ever on the defensive side of the ball. But having said that, the last time we played the Sharkies, they put 30 on us, so we had to be crazy good to pip them. So, Isaac, what are our keys on the defensive side of the ball? What are we looking to do to nullify from the Sharkies?
They've got a reasonably good forward pack, and I think they would have done their homework. They would be watching that Bunnies game on repeat. Again, they'll be analysing that to the nth degree to see where they've got an advantage, especially if the weather conditions come into play, especially if it's a wet track. And yeah, like that game that we won against them, that was an epic. And it was a very memorable game, but we can't forget in that first 10, 20 minutes, we were getting skinned. Like, they were picking us apart, and how we won that game is the most memorable part of it. But you can't forget that we were just sitting back and watching the Cronulla Sharks just tear us apart. And there's nothing stopping them from doing it this game, because they've got that skill set with their backline too. Nico Hines is playing out of his skin as well. So the Warriors are just going to have to really look out for their forward pack trying to dominate them the way South Sydney did. And just the slickness of their backline with Nico Hines leading the charge. So I'm not getting optimistic about this game at all. Already learned about getting too optimistic with that Souths game.
Yep.
Don't want to get your hopes up, but you can only hope that the Warriors train hard, prepare well, learn from the mistakes from that Souths game, and go and execute.
Couldn't have said it better myself, bro. Monitor. Sorry, I'm just been suppressing a bit of a cough there. Was on mute going.
Yeah.
Yawning.
Yeah, I thought it was a yawn for a second, actually.
Yeah, me too. That's what I was like.
I gotta wind this shit up.
I thought you were going. Okay, it is
I'm
nearly
running out of
midnight.
water. I'm like, oh.
For a second, I thought you were gonna put some glasses on that just had your eyeballs painted on them.
You're like drooling. Yeah, that was a great
I was
comment.
gonna turn the screen off and then back on again, and it's like Prince Miles with the hat on, like, oh?
And glasses.
You will be like that once
Yeah.
the kid comes out. You will be like,
yeah.
Yeah.
welcome to Warriors podcast.
Yeah, you guys go for it. Yeah, 34 weeks now, so yeah, it's coming around. It's coming around
Yeah.
fast,
Next
boys.
time you turn up.
I haven't slept in 2 days. Welcome to Warriors Anonymous. There was one thing I wanted to say, actually. There was a point from, let's just rewind the tape here, but about all these injuries with players coming back, do you guys think it's actually almost to our advantage? No one wants to get injured. You don't like losing players, but isn't it nice to have these players coming back at the right end of the season?
100%. And you've seen it the last couple of years, like Penrith have been a great example of it. You know, they've been sort of losing guys in the middle part of the year. It's almost like Nathan Cleary kind of times his injuries just to come back a few weeks before playoffs. And then, you know, they normally win enough games to get through. And then by the time they're at full strength, then they just go on with the job. So I'm with you on that, bro. A lot of the times when a guy gets suspended or injured and that, depending on the injury, I kind of do think, oh, you know, it's a chance to keep him fresh. So a guy like Nukore, he's nice and fresh.
Yeah.
Barney's pretty fresh as well, so that's good. Even Joshy Curran, he's got a lot that he can sort of offer, I think. So, yeah, I mean that's all good. In terms of this coming game, Moneta, who's the one guy to watch? We picked this last week, so let's keep the streak going, shall we? Who do you like?
I think Metcalf is gonna turn it up again, but
The revenge game.
I think I think Josh Curran will have a good game when he gets back.
Mm.
Also, I even think he'll come off the bench. I think he'll replace a forward. As not a forward. What was it? Not Bunty a forward.
Maybe
Ali
or
Ali.
Freddie even, maybe? I don't know. It depends how they work.
I reckon he'll replace Ali. To be honest, I thought he had a good game, but not. I don't think. I think Curran will kind of come in and replace him, but I think Metcalf will again improve his game as he has week by week. Sean Johnson, I think, will show. I think it will be a quartet of players that will kind of present itself in terms of man of the match, but I'm probably banking on Metcalf again to kind of take it up a notch because it's the way he's going. He's getting better game by game. I mean, like in the last game against the South, he was probably the only one that looked like who was going to be able to penetrate the line. So I think he's going to showcase, hopefully, his top speed. Fingers crossed. I'd love to see the top speed.
I mean, as much as the Sharks will have revenge on their mind from the last game, Luke's going to have a bit of revenge on his mind.
Yes, because that's the thing. Luke wanted to save the Sharks, but he was like, if you're not going to play me in first grade, he's been doing the hard graft, then I'm going to go to a team that's going to give him a chance. And you wanted more than so see ya.
Exactly. And where's that guy? Yeah. Anyways.
Can I throw a spanner in the works for who I think is going to have a big game?
Bro. Yeah.
I reckon a player that's been on the steady improve for the past few weeks, and I think is just on the cusp of breaking out, is Rocco Berry. I reckon.
You're going to say that.
Rocco Berry he's not having these bad games. He's showing a little something. I really like his step. He's got this little in and away that's going on, and the flick. I think he's got quite a large skill set, and I reckon this is the game, depending on the weather conditions, where he might bag a couple of tries or, just really make a difference. This is the one.
Yeah, I liked it. I'm going to post these up. Metcalf for Moneta, your pick. Isaac's going for Rocco, and yeah, I like that because he was almost close to getting a few tries and a bit more damage on the weekend. And I like especially what he can do out of the high ball as well. It just gives us another option out there to try and attack too. We don't have to do our shift plays. We can get high and kick high for Rocco, who's doing great. So I think we've done pretty great. Short-handed on this episode, boys.
We really need you, Dave.
Butter, it's a technical.
That's all right.
Thanks.
Didn't pass the HIAs. He's gone.
We always thought we lost Jared, but he was just coughing.
Tell you what, we've battled, haven't we, in this episode? Oi, oi, oi. Oh, man. Anyways, this been Warriors Anonymous. My name is Jared Cronin on behalf of Isaac Sauce, Moneta Sauce, and the MIA HIA. We'll catch you guys next week. If you want to follow us on Facebook, Insta, Twitter, subscribe and follow us on Spotify, Apple, YouTube. Great if you can, because then you get access to all of our exclusive content that we put out, which we actually did this week. We put out a little bit of a fan song called Up the Waz. So I hope whoever's listened to that, if anyone's listened to that, has enjoyed it. But yeah, we'll hopefully go out and turn it on for the Sharkies this week as well. So, fellas, let's do it. Go the Warriors!